What is going on, Lakers fam? This is your boy Jay Lake, bringing you Lakers all day, all the time. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button underneath, and any comments that you have will be much appreciated. So, big win on Tuesday, setting us against the Grizzlies for our first round matchup. Lakers big win. We were down basically that whole entire game. First quarter down by 6, second quarter down by 11, third quarter down by 7. Wasn't until that big three by Dennis Schroeder in that corner, So LBJ goes up for that reverse layup, shoots it out to Dennis Schroeder, hits that three. Then basically they're all dancing with the ice in my veins three. After that shot, they passed it over to Conley off of a flare screen, went to the corner, shot that three, and 80 fouled him. Just like that foul on Maxi Cleveland, that Dallas game, I mean, that was gut-wrenching. Had me on the edge of my seat the whole entire game.
Yeah, for sure. That first free throw that he nearly missed, I was like, oh my God, this is the most important free throw, and he almost missed it. And I knew he was going to make the next two because that first free throw was the hardest, I think.
Oh, yeah, it definitely. In typical Lakers fashion, being dramatic, right? Being down the entire game, looking like another blowout, looking like they're going to, play whoever wins the 9-10 seed. But end of the third quarter, you get some rhythm. Fourth quarter, you see them coming back, locked in the defense. The defense in the fourth quarter stopped them, just completely stopped Minnesota. And just, I saw that play when LeBron, drove in to the baseline and passed it to Dennis Schroeder for the three. And I'm thinking, he's not a great three-point shooter, but sometimes you're not sure if he's like that clutch. And I couldn't believe it. When it went in, amazing. I just couldn't believe it. And again, the Laker fashion, I knew something was going to go wrong, right? Something might happen at the end of the game with, a few seconds left, and there goes AD, just found him in the corner, and just gut-wrenching.
And not just like any three-pointer, the hottest player on the other side, the hottest shooter, they lost him in that flare screen. I couldn't believe it. But at least they escaped in overtime. LeBron kind of pulled them aside. AD at least played big. He got some big rebounds. I remember seeing LeBron just throw it up. He just threw it up. AD went up and got it, and then just muscled his way in. So glad the Lakers pulled out because I think it was a really important game.
Yeah, Mike Conley, that veteran point guard presence. We almost traded for Mike Conley, but instead, we traded him over to the Timberwolves for D'Lo. So Mike Conley, he had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He made 6 threes. Basically, his first 5 threes he didn't miss. He was on fire. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then look at D'Lo's stat line. What was it? 2 points? He went 0 for 4 for 3, 1 for 9 field goal.
Yeah, it was
the other guy.
It was a tough game for D'Lo. And he had some concerns last year in the playoffs for Minnesota. I think he disappeared for them as well. But hopefully he has a bounce back game against Memphis. But I think this game, for the MVP of this game, is Dennis Schroeder because he filled that role in for D'Lo. D'Lo couldn't be put out there. They put Dennis Schroeder in there. He went plus 22. He had 21 points, hit the biggest three of the night. Definitely saved our season from that last playing game.
Right, and yeah, I agree with you on that one. He does step up. When you think it was Russell's time to step up and be that third guy, the guy you count on when AD and LeBron are resting or kind of struggling through the game, it was Schroeder. He was the guy, right? And he proved it at the end with that clutch shot.
Yeah, Schroeder, he's that engine. He's like that pesky defender. His energy has been missed whenever he wasn't playing, but D'Lo, he has a lengthy kind of injury history throughout the past 2 years. He had a lot of ankle, knee. He was usually out for like a week to 2 weeks. But, if you see Schroeder, there's 2 games where basically his ankle touched that floor and he bounced right back and he played that whole entire game. D'Lo, he has a weird kind of baseline like ankle twist and he was gone for like 2 weeks straight.
he's a Gen Zer, so he's no, I'm just kidding, but he's definitely got a different body, I guess. I don't know. Our shooter is just insane. I mean, his ankle touched the floor. I mean, it's just insane.
Hey,
But
he has ice in his veins. You could say that.
yeah, he does
There's
have
ice in his veins right now, right?
for sure.
Definitely. And Schroeder, so he's on a minimum contract, prove it type contract. Do you think kind of the plays that he's been doing will kind of price him out of our range?
I don't know. It depends on how he performs the rest of the playoffs. I mean, obviously he was going to get over 18 million the first time around with the Lakers. I think they offered him some crazy number. I think it was like 68 million or something for that for 3 years or so. It was a crazy number, but he didn't play well. He didn't play well in those playoffs, and he got a better minimum somewhere else. So he is playing a lot better. Hopefully, we can bring him back for the mid-level exception, but we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of players on this team that are going to be free agents, so it's interesting to see what happens.
So I think you brought up a good point, Albert, about we're going to see what the performances are going forward now, right? I think a lot to determine who we bring back, who we let go. And I think everybody could be on the list, the chopping block list. It all depends on how they perform in the playoffs. I think a first round exit is going to be something to look at, and a lot of people won't come back, right? If they go deeper, if they go deeper in the playoffs, things change. Maybe Short, wants to come back. He's been performing well. He'll come back and resign. We get him back. So it all depends on everyone's performance. I feel like because this is a new team for the second half of the season, right? It's a brand new team, so they want to ensure that they put they bet everything in for this second half of the season and the playoffs to get to the Western Conference Finals, get to the finals, right? They believe they can do that with this team, with LeBron and AD leading the way. But everybody, I think, in my opinion, is on the chopping block depending on the performance.
Right. So, I mean, this game was a roller coaster, basically. We're down, 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 up again, and then down again. And then good thing in overtime that we were pretty dominant in overtime, and we basically, held on to that lead. Roller coaster game, roller coaster GM, roller coaster VP, Rob Pelinka. So, I mean, after those trades, do you guys give credit to Rob Pelinka, or do you still think he kind of doesn't have what it takes to be that VP role?
He bought himself some time. I feel like he bought himself some time. If he didn't make these moves for the second half of the season, and obviously if they miss the playoffs, get him out of there, right? But I think he bought himself some time, and we'll see. Again, it's going to be this playoffs is going to determine a lot of things going forward for the future of Lakers, right?
I think Rob has definitely been experimental. I don't know if. I mean, remember, they signed a bunch of tough defensive guys before on LeBron's first year. They got Lance Stevenson, all these non-3-point shooter guys in one of Rob's first year, being the GM, and it just didn't work out. They were a really bad team. He bounced back, got AD, built a good team around that team. Blew it up again a little bit after they won a championship. Got Marc Gasol, got rid of JaVale McGee. Didn't bring back Dwight Howard. They ended up needing that shot blocking, and they went out and got Andre Drummond at the end of the year, the buyout market. They get bounced out, and then they blow it up again, get Russell Westbrook. So I don't really blame Rob for Russ. I think that was the LeBron and AD move. I think they wanted him, so he just went out and got what they wanted. So, he bought himself some time for sure. He bounced back and had a good trade deadline. So I'm really happy about that.
Right, I feel the same way. I mean, overall, Rob's doing a pretty good job. I mean, Lakers fam have been hating him, then liking him, and then hating him, and then they're praising him again. I mean, it's sort of like Darvin Ham, he was supposed to be the coach's player. He's the one where you run through a brick wall for. He made lots of mistakes earlier in the season, lots of rotation issues, never called timeout when a timeout was needed. But this game, it seems like he kind of found his mojo. I'm really glad that he kept the rotations where both LBJ or AD or even Austin Reeves was on the floor at all times. Whereas before, he kind of just swapped out a 5-man rotation for another 5-man rotation. You're like, what the heck is going on? Because we're up by something, and then we go down, and then we go back up, and then go back down, and
yeah, for sure. Darvin Ham is like a new coach. He's a new head coach. He's made some mistakes, but he's kind of learning now. He shortened his rotation in this game to basically 9 players. I think when he played 2 minutes, but he shortened it down, and he's actually playing Rui Hachimura, which was big for us. I give Rui the second game ball. Like he was the player off the bench that really helped them. He played key minutes in the end of the game, and in overtime he was plus 20 on the court. That's second best on the team. 12 points, hit a big 3-pointer in the fourth quarter, and played great defense. I thought that was a good move by Darvin Ham to actually play Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, I think I said Darvin Ham really loved Rui Hachimura, right? He did well. He did really good off the bench, and the Grizzlies are going to need that in this series, right? We need that guy. I think he'll be a big part of winning that series. Starting Sunday against Memphis Grizzlies, right? Darvin Ham, you tell the difference between coaching beginning of the year to now. And honestly, I don't know if LeBron James stepping in towards the end of the year. And then, I don't know. I feel like when LeBron's on a team, who's really coaching sometimes? So maybe they have a good enough chemistry with each other, and it's really showing off now.
Right. So earlier I mentioned, he keeps both either LBJ, AD, or Austin Reeves. I mean, I think it's pretty crazy that I'm kind of lumping Austin Reeves with both LBJ and AD, almost like that third star that, he's only a second-year player. He went undrafted, but he's been having some big games down the stretch. I mean, this game, he was a solid role player, I feel like. Austin Reeves, he had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in 39 minutes. But he did turn the tide. I don't know if you guys remember that play where AD forced that turnover on Prince. Then basically he threw it up to Austin Reeves. He got contact, and then it was an and one play. Next trip, AD blocks a shot, throws LBJ gets it, and then throws it over to AR, and then another 2 points in the paint. It was like a quick 5-0 run, and basically brought us back to 1 at the end of the fourth quarter, or getting towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Mario and I call him the savior.
He's the savior.
We call him the savior because he just is saving us from doom. A lot of times, he just comes in, gets to the free throw line, slows the game down, and then he's always, gets us in the bonus, and that allows like AD and LeBron to get to the free throw line a little bit more as well.
Yeah, he is a hard worker, right? I mean, he is the savior of this team in some ways that you see when he plays. I think he helped out the Lakers when LeBron was injured, for all those weeks, right? You see him put up a 30-point game. This guy could ball, and I think when hustle plays are needed in certain times of the game, who do you look for? You look at Austin Reeves to do that for you. And so, again, like I would say, he's the savior. And I'm looking forward to watching him play the next series.
All right, so that brings us to who do you guys think is the MVP, or who does the game ball go to this game?
Like I said, it's Schroeder for me for the game ball, and then the sixth man is Rui Hachimura. I thought those two were great players. I think off the bench, Rui was great. So
since it's a bit shorter, I'm going to go with LeBron James. All right, 30 points, 45 minutes on those 38-year-old legs, right, coming off an injury. He's still leading the team. Like, 20th year, he's still doing it. He's making the right decisions. Just like at the end of the game, passing to Schroeder. Think anybody else probably would have shot it. I mean, Kobe would have shot it. We all know that. But you see how wide open Schroeder was. LeBron made the right play at the right time, like he always does. He always shows. So that's my MVP of the game. Davis did it really well. 24 points, 42 minutes. 52% field goal percentage. That's AD. That's good. Like we need more of that for AD. And we'll talk more about AD about the next series and what needs to be done.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is one of the few incidents where I feel like, oh, your MVP of the game is Dennis Schroeder, so that's pretty awesome. LeBron definitely also. I mean, they basically collapsed all five men into the paint on that last drive, and so he went up for that reverse layup, and only him was able to throw that pass to Schroeder at that angle. So my superstar or MVP would probably be Anthony Davis. I feel like he outbattled Cat. Even though Cat got into foul trouble, but he's always been our defensive anchor. I mean, 15 rebounds, 24 points, 4 assists. Without AD, especially during the next game for the Grizz, it's going to be impossible. I mean, if every time he plays like MVP caliber, we're winning that game.
For sure. I mean, we need AD. AD needs to be the best player on the team. LeBron, he is the best player, but AD needs to be that best player for sure. He needs to show up every night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this series coming up, I expect AD 30 points a game in this series. I mean, there's really no excuse. He's much bigger than everybody else. He's the most talented guy on the court, probably. As a big man. I mean, if we don't see 30 points, 15 boards in this series, are we going to win that series? I don't know. I actually don't know if we win that series if he doesn't put up those numbers against the Grizzlies. They're young, they're hungry, and it's like they play with heart. It's passion against them. So, it's a different style of basketball, but I think if Lakers if Lakers play the way they're supposed to play big, right, and make those big time plays and give Davis the ball in the paint, get those offensive rebounds, get second chance points, Lakers should do very well in this series. 6 games, I think.
So, I mean, awesome win. We're looking forward to our next opponents, Sunday nights versus the Grizzlies. That's going to be awesome. So, to me, I feel like the key matchups is against the Grizzlies is kind of similar to the Wolves, as in, Cat kind of plays a similar role as Triple J does. You basically got to get into foul trouble. It was kind of a gripe of mine that, we knew that Cat, every time he gets into foul trouble, then basically we take him out of the game. He becomes, a non kind of issue for the Lakers. Same thing for Jaren Jackson Jr. He's kind of up for the Defensive Player of the Year this year. And I feel like if Darvin Ham just runs those plays or tells AD, look, just go into the body of Triple J and, shoot it. I mean, you're going to get him in foul trouble. Once he gets in foul trouble, then we're going to take him out of the game. Ja Morant, we got to contain him. He's going to be a big issue for us. So basically, we have to do a drop coverage on Ja Morant. What a drop coverage is that the person that's on Ja Morant, either Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, or Vando, they go under the screener. Under the screener kind of prevents his drive, but it gives him more space for the three-pointer. But we're not really worried about that because for Ja Morant this year, he's been having 20.3 points per drive for his games. But for his three-pointer percentage, it's only 29.8%, and that's per the NBA stats. So I would much rather him shooting those threes than driving and kicking or driving and popping or basically his pick and rolls. And the other issue that we have is basically their big men. There's no Clark, no Adams, so we're going to have to crash glass hard. Roy Hachimura, he's a great rebounder. We have Bando, we have LBJ, we have AD, so that's a pretty big lineup. The third kind of matchup thing I have is that sort of like what we did or what other teams did with Westbrook is that you leave him unguarded. And basically you have Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane, he against the Lakers, he's only at 18.2% three-point shooter. His overall field goal against the Lakers is 38.1%. Dylan Brooks, he has a 30% three-point percentage against the Lakers, and his overall field goal actually drops to 24% against the Lakers. So if we put, say, LBJ on one of those players, he could just kind of play that linebacker role where he kind of hangs back and watches the defense and does what's needed. What do you guys think about the Grizz matchups?
Yeah, for sure. We have to contain. Ja. Ja is. I don't think there's anybody on our team that can guard Ja. So it's going to be a team effort. We have to, give him the 3-point shot, not allow him to drive, get in the lane, not allow him to, attract players specifically towards their 3-point shooters. Desmond Bain has had a couple big games against us, but if the percentages say that he's not a great 3-point shooter, him and Dylan Brooks, then we let those guys beat us. We don't let Ja beat us.
Ja, huh? You mean Clarence? And Ja. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but wouldn't surprise me in typical Laker fashion. And, something with game one, Memphis comes out and we game plan to let them shoot threes, get those longer jumpers, right? Don't allow them to drive, and they just become hot. They just can't miss anything. They're making all the shots. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened, right? But I guess you see the game plan, right? You see the stats. You see that, Ja does very poorly outside, 15, 18 feet. What I think with the really focus on too is not letting Ja, because Ja I think will get his. I think he'll get his points. Like you mentioned, Albert, I don't know what's going to be able to contain Ja. But I think what we could do is stop him from making the big plays, right? Stop him from making those posterizing dunks. Because those type of plays get the team going. They get Memphis going, get momentum really going. And again, then all of a sudden Lakers are back down 15 again, crawling their way back, doing all that stuff. So if you could limit Ja from having those big plays, that really, gets the stadium going, gets the team going. They actually have confidence and believe that they could beat the big time Lakers, then we're gonna have a little trouble. If we could just stop him from doing that, I think we'd be okay.
Yeah, for sure. We have to get started early too. We can't be getting behind by 15 in these games. I mean, this is a better team than what we faced in Minnesota. So we definitely can't get behind. We have to jump on them early.
Yeah, that's another issue I've been having. So it seems like, Lakers always have a slow start. Even if they don't have a slow start and say they do pick up a lead, they never keep that lead. They never, step on their necks. They always take their foot off the gas pedal. And it always seems like we kind of become lackadaisical whenever we're up by like a double-digit lead. And that's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's the drama of LA, it's Hollywood for a reason, and they may just, let the other team back in, and it's gonna be an exciting game at the end, but definitely not great for our hearts.
Right? They're always dramatic, right? Have to make a scene. Typical Lakers show. It's a Lake show, right? I mean, it has to be a show somehow.
Yeah.
Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they go down 15 again and won't come back to the fourth quarter. But this is a different team. They're second in the West for a reason. And also too, when AD comes out, right, and we're back to being small, how are we gonna? Let's say we're in the league. Are we gonna keep that lead? How are we gonna do there? I hope with Harmon and the rotation he puts in. It's when AD comes out, it's a big drop off. We lose those second chance points. We really do. Everyone's out on the perimeter, and we just those rebounds that you actually need, especially in a second unit coming in. You need those, and I've seen time and time again. And some AD's out, or even AD's playing out on the perimeter, which he should never be at, but he always is. We lose those offensive rebounds. We just don't get them. So I hope he stays in the paint, and when he's out, I hope people crash the boards and get those second chance points.
Right. So, a lot of analysts have been saying, LBJ is kind of washed or he's getting too old. He's been winded a lot of times. So previously, during those Cavs and Celtics games when he was with the Cavs, the reason why they beat the Celtics is because a lot of times during that third or fourth quarter, Jason Tatum, all their players look over and like LBJ looks like, oh, he's in good shape. He's not even like huffing and puffing and he's like, ready to go. And that was like his edge over like opponents. But, this year it kind of seems like Father Time is catching up a bit. And, a lot of analysts have been pointing that out. What do you guys think about that?
He looks older for sure. I mean, I don't remember the game it was. It wasn't this game. Maybe the game previous against I don't know, one of the games. He had a chance to posterize two guys. I think in the past he would have done it. It would have been body bags, but yeah, I think he doesn't have the same lift. He definitely is more worn out. He's playing hard. I mean, I give LeBron credit in that he's playing hard. He really is showing his leadership by doing, playing defense. So I see why he's tired. I mean, he's not relaxing on defense, but yeah, he looks a little bit older for sure.
Hey, 20th year, 38 years old.
Yeah.
How many minutes has he played? Isn't he number one in minutes in playoffs too? How many? Look at the games he's played. How many minutes he's played, and how much of the team he's been on relied on him, right? In the end game. Yeah, he is tired. He looks tired, and he's come off injured too, right, with his ankle or Achilles. And we probably didn't do that much running, so he's probably getting back into it. Because taking some weeks off, for anybody, and going back to running again, it's going to be a little hard, right? You're going to be huffing and puffing, but at his, what he does though at his age, year 20, it's remarkable, right? It really is, and even though he looks slow, and Father Time is undefeated, as we all know, Father Time is undefeated.
Even in
every
commercials,
league, in every sport, right? In anywhere, it's undefeated, right? And this guy seems to somehow keep pushing that Father Time back a little bit. Keep on just pushing him back and resisting, and even though it shows, I'm so impressed on what he does.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I mean, out of all the NBA players, I mean, LeBron's my guy. He's the GOAT for a reason. And it's like, I would prefer to ride or die through these playoffs with him. I kind of like the role that he has been taking. I mean, in the past, it's all bully ball. I drive down the lane. It doesn't matter who's in front of me. Freight train, bam, into a slam dunk or, 2-point layup. But now I feel like with time, he's kind of taking that Swiss Army knife role where whatever's needed by the Lakers is kind of what he provides. If we need those assists, if we need the ball handling, if we need 3-pointers, he does it for us. And that's been pretty awesome this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is why this is such an important time for Anthony Davis. He's got to take over and, give LeBron, a break. LeBron's going to be LeBron at the end of the games as long as AD is being aggressive the whole game. If teams are focusing on AD, then LeBron's going to have a much better night. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, AD has to perform like an MVP. He really does. He has to be in MVP form. He has to be dominating the boards, controlling the paint. That's always going to work. And that allows LeBron some rest, which he really needs, because LeBron will take some plays off. You see him resting because why? He knows by fourth quarter, he's going to have to come back. He's going to have to manage the game, facilitate, make a big shot. He needs the energy to the end of the game or possibly overtime. And that's why it's so important that AD has to be at his best. AD's 29? I mean, come on. He needs to be performing MVP. And the Lakers need that third option. Who was that third option? Is it going to be D'Angelo Russell? Is it going to be Hachimura? It's going to be Austin Reeves. Someone has to step up. A third guy has to step up. Kind of like when the Lakers won the championship back in the day. Shaq, Kobe. Who's their option? Was Derek Fisher. Sometimes Rick Fox, but mostly Fisher. Robert Horry when the big time shots. Exactly right. Yeah. So, not only the AD needs to step up, one other guy needs to be that third option as well.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that Grizzlies game. So with the big role players that we had, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, so our current projected cap space for next year is $134 million. That extra taxpayers cap is $162 million. So, even with the non-guaranteed contracts that say we clear and we have around $30 million, out of the players that we currently have, who are you re-signing with that $30 million? So you have D'Lo, you have Bees, you have Vando, you have Austin Reeves, you have Brown, you have Hachimura. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think they've already decided on Jared Vanderbilt because he has a a team option for like 1.7 million or so.
Or 4.9.
So I think they'll have him back.
4.9 contract.
Yeah, 4.9. So I mean, he's going to be on the team next year. I think it's going to have to be D'Lo. Honestly, I really love Austin Reeves. I just don't see him as the $30 million worth player.
Yeah, but watch him get $40 million.
We had him in the beginning of the year, and yes, his role has changed a little bit, but you know, I still think it's got to be D'Lo. I think Austin Reeves on the market is somewhere about $18 to $20 million in worth. I just don't think that he can, become the third star on a team right now.
You're right, and all signs point to D'Lo, right? All signs point to it. It's basically him to lose it. Do you agree with that? Like, it's him to lose it, I feel like. Because you expect that's where the money's going to go to. D'Angelo Russell, right? He should be that third guy, that third option, right? Ice in his veins. He started it all, right?
Right.
Again, it all depends on the performance in this playoffs, this series, as a matter of fact, right? Because if we're out, we're out. That's it.
For sure.
Do I see Austin Reeves getting that money? Not from the Lakers. But can I see him resigning and getting more money? Yeah. I mean, signing somewhere else and getting more money? Yes. I can see that. But I don't know if Lakers might not be interested in him next year. I don't know. But I'm going to go with D'Lo, who I want to resign with that, the $30 million. And hopefully he earns it this series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if D'Lo does play like what he did the last game throughout the series, then that might be another issue. Vando, right, 4.9 team-friendly contract for next year. Austin Reeves, because of the arenas provision, we could only pay him $9 million for next year. So most likely we're re-signing them, unless if another team gives them like a poison pill contract, then it might be more difficult. But I mean, I don't really see another team doing that for the first year $9 million, and then second year like 15 or 20, and then higher and higher and higher. So I mean, I feel like we have a good chance of re-signing him. He's recently said in his interviews that he wants to stay in LA, so that's a good sign. I mean, who doesn't want to stay in LA?
For sure. Yeah, I would definitely re-sign Rui Hachimura as well. I think they traded like 4 second-round draft picks for him. Definitely need him back, and Schroeder. If we can keep him back, get him back, then he's big. Right now, I'm on the fence on Malik Beasley. He hasn't really played well, at least shot the ball from three-point land well, but we'll see. I mean, that's why we're in the playoffs, to see who's going to be on this team next year.
Yeah, and it would be easy, right? We brought him in to shoot threes, right? What happened? As soon as he became a Laker, the pressure just, they can handle the pressure. I feel like it happens to a lot of players that Lakers bring in for shooting threes. They just fall off. They can't handle the pressure. They can't do their job. So I'm okay letting Beasley go. I mean, we'll try with someone else. I mean, who's the last good 3-point shooter we had? Lakers had Sasha Vujacic. I feel like is the last I can remember. Top of my head is a really great, consistent 3-point shooter, right? The machine. So coming to the Lakers, it's a big market. There's a lot of pressure, and some guys aren't built for that. They just can't handle the pressure, right?
Like Kobe said, not everybody's built for it.
Yeah. So I'm okay giving up Beasley, right? We could get another shooter somewhere else, but Hachimura, Dennis Schroeder, those guys play well here, and they bring something to the table that the Lakers need, and you see it throughout the games. And like I said, as they play well, hopefully they play really well against the Grizzlies and really earn their paychecks and make more money next season or something like that, right?
Right. I mean, I don't know what it is. It seems like it's a Lakers 3-point curse. It's like any player, they're at 40%, 42% 3-point shooter. They come to the Lakers, bam, tank 10% right off the bat.
Yeah.
I feel like
name some players, yeah, for sure.
I feel like in this
no. All of
right. In this day and age, with the trade market being as it is, Rob Pelinka just needs to go up to Genie and be like, look, you got to reach in your pocket, right, Genie? I mean, these players, we spent lots of time, lots of effort, lots of picks to get these players in. They're gelling and meshing well, and we've done really well. So even if you do sign them and have to go into your pockets and we go over, these are trade chips for us. These are necessary trade chips that in today's trade market, these are what's necessary. We have these trade chips, and it'll give us a lot more options during the trade deadline, and it allows us to be flexible with our cap space when that time comes around.
For sure. I mean, it's harder to trade a guy like Westbrook, I guess, because $42 million. What are you gonna get back? You got to trade a bunch of veteran minimums with him. But if it's easier to trade like little pieces here and there than trade one big piece.
You trade LeBron?
LeBron? No, not yet. Unless he asks for a trade, but no.
Him or AD, like you said. It's gonna be little pieces are gonna have to be traded.
Right, and I'm hoping we'll get to see some flashes of Tristan Thompson and Shaquille Harris in this next game. Blowout, second half, third quarter, fourth quarter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson. What do you expect out of him?
Rebounding.
Rebounding?
Yeah, just rebounding. I don't expect him to make very many shots, just rebounding.
Over 6 or under 6 rebounds?
If he plays significant minutes, it should be over, but
it should be.
Yeah. But if it's like 3 minutes, I expect like 2 rebounds.
There's lots of garbage time, then he's getting lots of rebounds. And some block shots too.
But the rotation's what, 9 players right now? The rotation? Do you see it going down to 8 in this series? This rotation?
I mean, if you cut out Beasley or Troy Brown, but Troy Brown's been really good for them. I just think they probably need more guards to guard. Ja. So I just don't see it shrinking. I don't see it shrinking. I do see maybe minutes getting cut, but not shrinking.
Okay.
All right, Lakers fan, you heard it here first. Please leave some comments if you agree with what we said, or if you don't agree, leave them down below as well. And we'll see you again next time during Grizzlies postgame.
Take care.